Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special series between UU and NCI. I am, of course, Dutch Source, joined today by my lovely co-caster, New Leok. Welcome, my dude.
Hey, it's lovely to be here on a lovely Thursday evening, coming at you from the city of Liverpool. Haven't gotten a Scouser accent yet, but I'm working on it. We are going to get into picking bands right away. You may notice that you are letting their band timer run out. Unfortunately, as we are starting a bit late, and it was down to a problem on UU's side, they will be losing their first three bands. So we'll be seeing a lot of this countdown timer, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it gives us some time to talk about why this series is so important. Of course, we're looking at a battle for the second spot, right? If NCI win both of these games, they get sole possession of that second spot. Were they to tie or lose, it will be UU to get a second spot. And of course, only the top two of each group goes to the semis. So very important spot to be in.
Exactly. UU are actually currently tied first in Group B in this tournament. But the important difference between UU and the team they're tied with is that the TUD Apes, who are the other team in first place, have already beaten NCI 2-0. So Ulster University, as you say, if they want to stay on top of this group, will also have to beat NCI. But again, also just tying with NCI will keep them in ahead of NCI, who are 3-1 and 1 at the moment, versus UU, who are 4-1, having won 4 and tied 1 series. So yeah, like you say, it's whichever. If either of these teams can come out 2-0, they're looking really strong. Ulster University could potentially even threaten for that first seed. But of course, if NCI manage to get that 2-0, they will be in second place and looking good for taking down a semi-final berth.
For sure, will not be an easy task. Both of these teams doing very, very well for themselves. Especially UU, of course, having still that level lead. I think they let me quickly check. They tied once, so they never even lost a series yet. And we already see a lot of focus going on to Dakin, making sure that he's the least comfortable as he can be.
That's fair. Dakin, definitely a strong player, can look to carry out at the jungle, and you do look to enable him. I think we're likely to see something like the Kazakhs coming out for Dakin. He's been playing it a bit already in this tournament, and obviously it's very strong in this current preseason. Does play with Drakthar, doing very well on the Kazakhs, as well as a few of the other new lethality items. It's a little bit interesting they haven't chosen to ban the Graves away from Dakin. It's something that he plays a lot of. It gets banned away from him regularly. I'm not sure how well it's doing in the preseason, but I can't imagine all the lethality options that are stronger doing badly by Graves at the moment.
Yeah, they're doing very well, and we immediately kind of see two identities already existing. As we have Samira locked in, which is absolutely disgusting at the moment. Does well in team fights as well in duels. Ornn as well, giving a scaling option. Does super well in team fights. And on the other side, we just have that Shen lock in, setting them up for more of a split push style, right?
Normally we see Jhin and Samira. They're the 280 carries that you just ban in all of your solo queue games at the moment, right? I think everyone watching can agree that they haven't seen either of those champions in solo queue in a long time. But the fact that UU lost their bans, they couldn't ban away one of those 80 carries. Only the Jhin was banned away. NCI were willing to potentially give the Samira over, but maybe knew that it was Alex P doesn't play the Samira, and so we're willing to leave it up. And it was the Shen first pick instead for UU, giving the Samira over. That's a lot of power in the bot lane. I'm already really scared of that from NCI. It almost doesn't matter what you draft around it, because Samira can just 1v5 in team fights anyway. But on the other side, that's that Kazakhs we were talking about for Dakin. And I mean, if there's a champion that can just shut down any other champion in the game at the moment, it is kind of Kazakhs.
Yeah, I actually do really like that pickup. It makes it so that they want to look for those picks with the Shen with the Kazakhs. If they can get backline access, it's easy pickings afterwards. Miss Fortune, is safe, is strong. Alex P is comfortable on that champion, so I think it's fine picking that one up. But I'm kind of curious what you are looking for to really round out this comp.
Okay, so there's something I want to talk to you about, and it's the Miss Fortune Lilia synergy.
Oh.
We do have a last second support substitution for UU that we only found about in the last kind of 5 minutes or so. So Soup C will be coming in at the support role for Ulster University. And honestly, I don't know what he plays. I guess we'll find out shortly. But the Miss Fortune Lilia one is an interesting one, because obviously you put people to sleep. And then Miss Fortune Ultimate doesn't actually wake anyone up. The damage over time effect that comes from Miss Fortune's Ultimate doesn't break sleep. So you get the full 2.5 seconds of CC of the stun while putting out an entire Miss Fortune combo on top of them. So it's a lot. And it is an option. It's kind of an off-the-wall option. It's not necessarily the one we're going to see, but it is available if Ulster University are looking for something a bit spicy in game number 1.
Fair, as you just see the one ban coming out. They might have missed one. I'm not entirely sure what's going on. Maybe they lose 4 bans. It is what it is. The Zeroth coming out. Of course, targeting Flare, who has been playing that a little bit this season. We don't really see that in preseason, so I'm kind of curious why that ban really does come through and how much it adds. And then we see the Taliyah locked in, making it a very interesting composition, I think.
Yeah, Taliyah's a weird one.
Yeah.
Taliyah obviously not in the best spot for a very long time, even before this preseason, and I'm not really sure which of these items, you're looking at that really have suddenly broken Taliyah. I guess, I don't know, maybe go Cosmic Drive and run around really fast, throwing Qs at people. I don't know. It's interesting. Vladimir is one who it's super easy to look at and be like, yep, Riftmaker's really good on Vladimir. The new Hextech Rocket Belt, which is just the old Hextech Proto Belt with a new, slightly different name, is really strong on Vladimir. And then a lot of these other items just allow him to continue to pump out damage in team fights. And he still does Vladimir things, same as Vladimir has always done. And rounding out the comp for NCI will be an Irelia, which probably going to mid lanes. Irelia Vladimir is a matchup. I'm not sure. Taliyah jungle, right? It's it's Taliyah jungle.
Yeah,
it took me a few seconds there. It'll be an interesting matchup in the mid lane. Irelia again benefits a little bit, I think, from some of the changes to things like Trinity Force. She really uses all those stats well, and Trinity Force being a little bit stronger now can feel really good on some of these champions that like to pick it up. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see how these matchups play out. It's some spicy things coming out of NCI. The Taliyah jungle is something I was not expecting at all. As we will have to see how it does end up playing out once we do actually get into game. Unfortunately, no Miss Fortune Lilia in this game one. I'm kind of sad that we don't get to see that one. Miss Fortune Lilia, though, just a strong laning combo. Miss Fortune obviously will do quite well. I'd imagine going to be picking up the Eclipse. I'm still not fully on top of these items, Dutch. I don't know if you are. I'm still trying to figure out what everyone actually builds in this preseason. But when it gets down to it, I'd expect some kind of lethality Miss Fortune build. And Lulu's just going to make it very safe for the Miss Fortune to run around, one-shot people with an auto attack Q with the Miss Fortune passive. Yeah, so we will have to see how that goes once we do get into game, as we will jump to a quick break and then be back with game one of this best of two to see which of these teams will be sitting pretty for getting into the semifinals.
welcome back to our first game between NCI and UU. And unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of time to talk about these compositions, and I don't think we will for a little while because 5-man stack immediately happening. I think that's spot out, so...
Vladimir sees that. It's the classic 5-man defensive line across the map. If you execute well, you get there quick enough, you should be able to spot out most things coming towards your jungle. So Rwanda spots that out in the mid lane, and that means we get to talk about comps, Dutch.
Woo!
Hi.
I'm excited. So yeah, we have a bit of an interesting proposition. We were chatting in the time we were waiting around for this, and basically our conclusion was it is Samira or die, right, for the side of NCI.
Pretty much. Orin is obviously an extremely strong champion, but is not going to be 1v5ing now that they've nerfed Sunfire, at least on this patch, that is. Taliyah, I think, is, again, like, you know, I'm excited to see how this Taliyah plays out, but I don't think he's going to be the champion that you're looking at for primary damage. This is a tough game for Irelia, just by virtue of the fact that there is a Lulu on the other team. Polymorph is so strong against champions like Irelia that want to dive into your backline, and Lulu can just be sitting on top of that misfortune, preventing Irelia from getting much done a lot of the time. So yeah, like you say, it really comes down to this Samira, and if Gloob can build up those style stacks in the middle of fights and can get big ultimates off and can really, not necessarily quite 1v5, but honestly he's going to have to come pretty close in execution, and that becomes scary when you look at the other side and you realize there's a Kha'Zix, there's a Vladimir who can be jumping on top of your AD carry, especially with a Shen ult on top of it. Gloob is going to have a lot of pressure in these mid to late game fights.
For sure, as soon as he gets set up, as soon as he has those 2 to 3 crit items, which he's probably going to be building towards. Also, should mean that UU has a bit of a dilemma where they have to decide, where do we play around? Do we focus the Shen so he can't get away, or do we just go on, or so he gets room to get away, excuse me, or do we just go on that bot lane? Make sure that the Samira is behind, that Samira cannot get ahead, and that Samira will be down for a lot longer than when, you know, we'll just let her free farm.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one that I'm hoping to see answered by these junglers, especially like Disco Dak. And Orin is not an easy champion to gank once he has an item or two, or even components, because he does start to get quite tanky quite quickly. But obviously, honestly, Shen damage is deceptively high in the early game, and especially combined with Kha'Zix damage if you can find the Orin isolated. There is room to get the Shen, or to get the Shen ahead against the Orin there, and Shen once ahead is actually very impressive against almost any matchup. So that could be an option. I don't think mid lane is really an option for either of these junglers. Both Irelia and Vladimir are just hard propositions to gank at the best of times. Vladimir with pull and Irelia with so much mobility and a hard CC that can be applied almost anywhere in the lane is just tough to lock down. So it's top lane or bot lane. And I think there's a choice there for both junglers as to where they're going to put their focus. And we will see this start to play out over the next kind of 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, of course, both of these junglers having a bit of trouble, like, getting them up by themselves. We were saying, like, in the mid lane, there's not a lot of setup, so... And it's hard to actually hit anything when there's no easy CC to land, so at that point, might as well just not do it. As we see this Taliyah hovering around bot a little bit. I think it's a bit over-eager to try and go for this, but waiting a long time. Trying to see if that Thresh line can land. Bucko, walking forward. No.
Ginger Joe. Oh, he misses the W.
Seismic Shove doesn't connect. That means that they're just gonna walk away. Nice stun from this Aurelia. Flare gets a cheeky trade and immediately walks backwards.
Yeah, sorry, Dutch. I got a little bit overexcited there. You know, you called it out. That was Dankus to Meep spending a while sitting in that tribe rush. Kind of not really sacrificing anything. You know, had done a lot of his clear already. Yeah, sorry, a gank happening top lane.
Yeah, but I'm looking at bot lane. I don't know what it's about. You, they're fighting the bot lane. Dashes forward. Uses the burrow. Doesn't really dodge anything. Taliyah comes again. Again misses her one important skill shot. And unfortunately, that means that Bucko might be taken down. The heal saves him just in time. And even in the top lane, nothing happened. Baba Yaga didn't even have to use his flash. So nobody gets hurt out of that one.
Wow. A lot of action in the bot lane. That's a flash blown from Alex D. Excuse me, my voice is breaking from pure excitement at this point. I think that's the big trade here. Disco Dak, and this is such a dangerous dive.
Oh, this dive is so dangerous. Bellow's Breath double knockup. Soup C in a lot of trouble. He dashes and flashes away. Disco Daka tries to close this one off, but they cannot get it. Disco Daka goes low. You cannot do this, buddy, without dying yourself. tries his hardest, still walks forward. They have a lot of minions to work with, but I'm not sure if that is going to be enough as Tankers of Memes arrive to help them out on this one. And what a aggressive early game already.
Yeah, serious aggression coming out of both of these junglers. Thanks to me spending a lot of time bot side, but what I really like is that after the reset from the bot side was willing to just run straight top and help, because if Baba Yaga had been forced off of that tower, had been forced away from that minion wave, which he would have been if Thanks to Meeps hadn't arrived on the Taliyah, would have been super far behind in XP. I mean, and there's nothing worse in top lane than losing a huge wave, 2 waves, 3 waves to tower, and just falling behind in XP in CS. Still down in CS, but that's not the end of the world as this Ornn. You know, you are a tanky utility, will be fine, but once you're down on levels, you just start to feel more and more useless.
And that was close. Good, you know, insight from Tankers of Meep to just walk top, make sure that those waves get collected. And then speaking about levels, we're looking at a level 5 in our top lane, so soon we might see that Stand United being used to try and make plays happen around the map.
Oh, I love it, Dutch. I told you, I said I wanted to see proactive plays, and here you are setting me up to talk about proactive Shen plays, because, hey look, there's a Kha'Zix hovering around bot side. Kha'Zix doesn't have hard CC, but Shen does. So once you have that Shen, Stand United, you have an invisible Kha'Zix who's level 6 as well, jumping in onto someone. Shen CCs them, and it's an easy kill for the Kha'Zix from that point. It's something we haven't necessarily seen out of teams a lot in this tournament. It's something I'm really hoping that we see this game, is proactive Shen ult. That ability is so powerful if you use it to force outnumbered fights against the opposition, and I want to see it, man.
He's all giddy about it, but it's not happening just yet. That level 6 did get him. So around the map, there's a lot of options you can take. You can look towards mid with a gank, but would probably be very much the easiest option to go, especially if Dakin is close. But again, there's just not a whole lot of CC on the side of UU, you know, considering that Shadow Dash, that taunt is the only thing that is really available to them to try and lock someone down, and especially as we get later into the game, that means that Gloob should have a bit of a free time just hitting everyone.
Definitely true. Gloob should potentially be doing it. I know there's something we were talking about in the pre-game and we weren't quite sure, which is if the Spirit's Refuge from Shen actually blocks the shots from Samira's ultimate. Because I know they do a lot of things that auto attacks do. You know, they crit, they apply on hits. I'm just not sure if they are actually auto attacks. So that's something to keep our eyes on in game. Because that's potentially a really powerful option against the Samira, because her ultimate is so much of her damage in team fights. If she can stack to that S rank style and get the ultimate off, it's so much healing, it's so much damage, and if you can block a lot of it against 1 or 2 members with Spirit's Refuge, you're feeling pretty good about yourself.
Oh, for sure, that could be the hero's play if that works. We shouldn't get too excited about that one, because
the other option is that he tries it and it just fails miserably and we get super disappointed.
Look at Dakin actually, as he goes into the red buff, everyone is rotating over towards top stretch line. Fortunately, only lands on a minion. That means Bucko in a little bit of trouble. Goes down to 200 HP. Ignite going to be taken, and that's going to be first one for this misfortune. Helping out UU a lot. Stand United to try and keep Disco Dakin alive. Spirit Refuge, the taunt, will it be enough? Vanguard to X-Flare doesn't have the damage just yet. Disco Dakin makes sure that he gets that kill, and they might even lose a red buff for it as well, as 3-0 now on the board for UU.
Oh, this is a nightmare. We are on our first way to this Kha'Zix actually just becoming the alien. That's a 2-0 Kha'Zix. The first kill went down as Thanks to Meeps on this Taliyah just dies. You know, you said it. There was people collapsing towards that red buff for NCI, but they didn't get there in time, and Thanks to Meeps in a straight 1v1 is not going to win against the Kha'Zix with isolated damage. And after that, the cleanup, the collapse from Ulster University was just better than NCI's, which, as you say, nets them a 2-kill lead on the top side. In the bot side, it's just a straight 1v1 off of the back of Bucko. For the second time this game, honestly, going a little bit over-aggressive, trying a little bit too hard to force a play, and not really respecting how much chase potential there is from all of the slows that come out of Misfortune and Lulu.
Disco Dakin with another taunt in the top lane. Baba Yaga trying to dash away, flash away even. And I don't think they want to chase any further. As we go back to that play, right, we need to look at a whole. What does this change for a game flow? Because Gloob now set behind by a kill. MF items already cheaper, so that makes it so that they stay ahead of the curve a little bit longer. And even the Kha'Zix being ahead, so important. He would be the primary member to go onto that hyper carry and make sure that she dies. So a lot of things happening from just those two fights.
No, you're absolutely right. The Kha'Zix, as you said, we set it up earlier. We said Kha'Zix assassinating Samira is absolutely a win condition for this Ulster University team. If they can kill off a Samira early in a fight, they probably can just clean up fights with the Vladimir, with the MF afterwards. And on top of that, you know, thanks to Meeps, really a lot of his time had been invested in this bot lane, whereas Kha'Zix had been focusing on the top side of the map. Dankus and Meeps had been focusing on the bottom side. That was the lane he wanted to get rolling. And they'd done an okay job. They built up kind of a 20 CS lead, which all gets immediately cancelled out. As soon as the Misfortune gets that one kill back, all of a sudden, all of that time investment by the jungler, all of the good laning pressure that had come out of Gluten Bucko, it's just vanished. It's gone. It's thin air. Now the items are basically, even if it's a Serrated Dirt and a Vamp Scepter versus a Noon Quiver and a Vamp Scepter, and that's just, it's not a good feeling if you are NCI to have all of the first kind of 10 minutes of investment into that lane cancelled out.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate stuff, and oh, hopefully they can, you know, stay calm, keep their cool, and just work out of that, because those late game team fights, we're talking about Samira, she is bonkers whenever there's a 5v5, it's ridiculous.
Bonkers is one word, broken is another one, and probably the one I'd use. She's kind of powering through the crit 80 carries being a little bit underpowered at the moment, just by virtue of being massively overpowered in basically every other way. It's just scary. It's worth buying healing reduction against, because, you know, she can just heal through an entire fight. She'll do it once, get a pentakill, and then your team will be like, oh, maybe we should buy healing reduction now. But no. You want to get it before the mid game. You want to be applying that healing reduction before she manages to get that first big ultimate off. So worth looking at. It's interesting on this new preseason patches, looking at who actually buys the healing reduction, because it's now available to everyone, including supports, right, for just 800 gold, which really isn't all that much in the grand scheme of things. And so the question becomes, you know, are you looking to have it on someone who isn't trying to complete big ticket items to produce damage, or are you saying, hey, Vladimir, you're the person who will be hitting the most people in team fights, you buy the healing reduction because we want to apply it to a lot of people? And look, I mean, gold on your screens at the moment, and Dutch Source, there's one big lead I can see, and my god, that Kha'Zix is far ahead at the moment.
That Kha'Zix is very far ahead indeed. It kind of works off of that play where they get like 2 kills, they get those 2 kills, and then afterwards that jungle is completely free for the taking. Consider, like, pair that with the fact that Taliyah, we haven't seen it that much, she still struggles a lot with those early clears if you're not really confident on that champion. We saw her go, you know, fairly low every time we see her in screen. She's like half health-ish. And that means that every time that Kha'Zix just walks in, jumps on her, there's a potential for a kill.
Yeah, to be fair, you can say that for Kha'Zix against a lot of junglers at the moment. Yeah, Kha'Zix just jumps on someone and there's potential for a kill. But it was something we didn't really call out about the Kha'Zix player earlier, was, yeah, Kha'Zix was in Talia's jungle, stealing jungle, felt confident enough to go for invades kind of 7-8 minutes into the game already. And obviously the play went really well. You know, I think got more than Disco Dakin was even expecting out of that. But this Kha'Zix was not feeling worried at all about the Taliyah matchup. And we kind of mentioned it earlier, but this Taliyah, I'm not entirely sure what it's meant to do, either in this comp or kind of just as a jungler on the current patch. You know, there's got to be, like, a lot of these lethality junglers are just so strong at the moment that if you can't keep up with them, you're not doing much.
For sure. And, well, Taliyah's decent clear, but we can see that even then, not keeping up, and that Weaver as well is kind of where you want to make your big plays, or the easier plays, I should even say. And it only came down, like, what, 2 minutes ago, after Dakin was level 6 for another 2. It was kind of ridiculous what the difference makes between, like, you know, very effective clearing and what Taliyah has been doing this game.
Yeah, it's a 30 CS lead already. As you say, Dakin has been 6 for a while. He has a 2-level lead at the moment, and Dax Meep is looking for an invade at the moment, but there's no camps there. Dakin is just power farming through his own jungle. Might get a Gromp out of it at best, but Dax Meep at the moment kind of just wandering around the jungle, looking for things and not getting anything. Leaves before the Gromp even spawns. Will go and look for something top. Shouldn't be able to get this Shen if Soupsy has his monitor turned on. And so yeah, life is rough for Dax Meep at the moment.
Not really finding anything. No camps, no kills, no assists, no minions in the waves. That's mid lane. needs to play it safe because Daken is just waiting on the sideline. Anytime that this Aurelia would go in and engage, it's gonna be waiting a Kha'Zix on the sideline, and there it is. Olsen Ford has that invisibility, and of course more than enough damage for Wandis, securing the kill. And oh no, Bucko goes for it yet again. That charge only hitting this Lulu. Blade Flare not doing a whole lot. That means that nothing's gonna happen out of that one.
Oh no!
Oh.
Oh, that was brutal.
Oh.
I mean, he secured the 100 gold, like got the blue buff anyway because Taliyah died. That blue buff was always ending up on Disco Dakin as soon as he walked into that side of the jungle, but got the golden clear. Oh,
what a hook rush forward from Gloop, but they don't really can deal with this misfortune just yet. She doesn't have the ultimate available, so no follow-up on that one, but it's looking rather rough around the board for NCI.
Noon Quiver's a really nice laning item. It makes your CSing feel much better. You get that 20 extra damage onto minions, but
This
they're fine.
Yeah. No way they're gonna try and do it.
Not
Yes,
fine.
they are. Disco Daken. No, the Drex line doesn't connect with the wall, so Daken just gets a freebie. They're making it very easy for him this game.
Oh, he's 4-0. Has completed. It's the Gorge instead of the Dustblade, which isn't something I was necessarily expecting. But Dakin opting for just that extra little bit of damage. You know, you get more AD the lower health you are, and also you get extra healing in fights. The activist thing is blue doesn't matter.
Oh, Dakin actually maybe a bit more than naked. You flashes forward there. Inferno trigger. He's still alive. Stand United used. Will that be enough to make this dive successful? LXP goes down a little bit. Taunt misses, but it doesn't matter. Gets secured in the end. Bit of a messy one, but they made it work.
They're just far enough ahead that they can make these kind of mistakes, and also University will still come away with kills with the lead. It wasn't the cleanest dive from Dakin. It did force the Shen ult out, which means that, you know, Orin got a little bit of free time with the wave, but this is what you like to see as a Shen. You get to ult away from your lane, your laner pushes in, is like, haha, I'm ahead, and it's like, oh, Shen just TP's back to lane, and doesn't lose any CS, doesn't lose any experience, still feeling pretty good, and comes away with the assist. And right now, it's all coming up Ulster University in this game. They've got the lead, they've got the earlier spiking champions, and they are not showing any signs of slowing down either.
No, but there is a response. If they get it, yes they do. But now they are trapped inside this pit. Disco Dakin looking for something to find. There's the Hemoplague, only hits the tank. That pool might be timing out. No, they still get it. Flash for Flash. Baba Yaga still alive. As Flare just decides to slow them down. Bucko, why does he go in after they finally escape?
Oh, I don't have answers for you. The best answer I can think of is it's one of those situations where, you know, someone arrives to a situation a bit late, everyone's been trying desperately, they've blown everything to try and disengage, and then Bucko arrives at the tail end and is like, wait a second, we're 4v3, I can engage this, and everyone's like, but we just used everything to escape, we can't join you. And yeah, it just leads to Bucko again. We've seen it a few times this game, goes a little bit over aggressive and pays the price. And unfortunately, it is starting to cost his team. That's now 5 kills on the Kha'Zix. There's 2 kills on the Misfortune, who's building that Eclipse, that early spiking lethality item on the bot side. And right now, all of the carries for Ulster University are starting to come online. And any fight in the next little while, you should expect to see go their way.
This is exactly what, like, this is the dream. Of course, it's a dream scenario here. 8-0, but like, it all falls in the right pieces as well. It's on Kha'Zix and it's on MF, which both of them kind of stop Loop as hard as possible. One because they're in the same lane, and the other one because they just one-tap you. Like, that wind wall around you is not gonna stop doing damage. So it's all falling into place from UU, and I guess what needs to happen now is we need to see a slower game state if there needs to be any chance for NCI.
That's it. They need to just, you're right. They absolutely need to just slow this game down completely, try and stall for kind of 10 minutes, get a few big items onto the champions who can actually, you know, potentially threaten the other team. And by that I mean Samira. Samira needs items. The problem being that really this NCI side hasn't brought much wave clear, you know? This is a comp that's kind of very do or die. You either go even or get ahead in the laning phase, or you're just going to find yourself pushed in constantly across the map. We're going to see this Kha'Zix just get every piece of every jungle that he wants. The carries on Ulster University are going to continue to free farm in these lanes whenever, you know, they're even near the river. And so I think we're just going to see this gold lead start to extend a little bit for Ulster University as this map state really just stays stagnant, at least for the next kind of 3 to 4 minutes.
The one saving grace, I'd say, is that tier 1 mid still standing. About barely, but it is still standing. If they can keep that alive for a little bit longer, means that Baron realistically isn't that easy as it will be if that tower goes down. So I'm curious to see if they can keep that alive. Whenever we're like 2 minutes ahead, see what happens around the Baron line.
See, you say saving grace, Dutch. What I say is that actually just means that Ulster University are another like 1,500 gold ahead. They just haven't bothered to pick it up off the map yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It does, you know, it does stop them. No, I guess you're right. I'm trying to make this, you know, sound good for NCI. It's just they're in a tough spot. We do see Trinity Force now completed for Flare. That does mean that, you know, does a little bit more damage. Shield Bow also there. But we've seen these cleared items. They need to go now to those 4 item marks, even the 5 item marks, because the scaling is all whack on those, and you really need that those items to start pumping out that damage. It's gone even slower. So do you really get to that point if it keeps going on like this?
That's true, especially for the crit build on the Samira. We've said it again and again. Really, probably will need to be the primary carry.
Oh, well, Darkin goes in. Flashline doesn't connect. A little bit of a stun. Flash to safety, and now Ginger Joe is in trouble. But well.
Orin is trying to flank this.
He does have Call of the Force God. I'm not really sure if they do want to engage in this. Rwanda's still on the sideline. There he goes. Knock up. Going to land, but just no follow-up just yet. Depth charge. There's Vladimir, but Bucko is so low, and there's the bullet time, making sure that kill is gonna be secure. Rwanda tries to make one more play, as at the end of that one, we now have a 10-0 scoreline.
And hey, here's this 1,500 standing gold in the mid lane. That, you know, all it took was 1-1 skirmish, and it's more gold over to Ulster University. They're looking so strong. They really haven't put a foot wrong yet in this game. I mean, look, they've given up 1 Drake on the bot side, but that was because their jungler was focusing top side. They gave up 1 Rift Herald, but, you know, 10 kills.
Fight actually might happen here. Baba Yaga trying his hardest. And then Aurelia hits a nice ultimate, but cannot follow up, unfortunately. So that is that. They lose another member.
That was nearly a foot wrong, but you know, that's when you're going up the stairs at night and you know, you nearly step off the bottom step wrong, but you catch yourself at the last second. That's what just happened there for Ulster University, and it's fine. Nothing went wrong. They didn't fall down the stairs and end up giving up big shutdowns over to the Samira or anything. Yeah, Samira still needs a while to scale into this game, and it's honestly not really looking like Ulster University are going to give NCI time to get the gold onto their carries, to get these items that they need to actually start to threaten people. The one possible highlight, the one possible ray of light in this darkness for NCI is that they have the Ornn. So you have a little bit of kind of free scaling there if Ornn can get levels.
Oh no, crash line from Bucko again, maybe going a little bit too far forward as Rwanda's was just waiting for that to happen. Luckily they can both walk away.
Okay, so Bucko's at least now, he's got a Bami Cinder, and is that a Negatron Cloak nowadays? I can't even tell. It is a Negatron Cloak still, it's fine. I know items. You know, he's now able to go a little bit forward and not just immediately die. So, you know, things are looking up for Bucko. We won't talk about that.
So yeah, the Megatron Cloak. What's gonna be?
It's pretty great. It's gonna build into that. You know, the support item. Honestly, I can't remember. I mean, there's a little bit of a scrap going in the top lane, but really the important thing to look at in these gold graphs is the 4,000 gold lead for Kha'Zix. I mean, come on, man. It's like there's nothing else that's relevant here beyond the fact that Disco Dakin is 4,000 gold ahead of this Talia. And I mean, honestly, is 2,000 to 3,000 gold up on anyone else in the game as well. I mean, that's just a monster of a jungler. That's a monster of a threat. And I mean, you've got to be scared if you are on the NCI team right now.
You can just literally jump into anyone, even the Ornn. You know, with those with the low Q cooldown, does a lot of damage. Just Gwen gonna be secured. Maybe this is an opportunity as that Shen is still topside. It's gonna be a 4 versus 4. TP not available. Stand United is that charge. Just thrown away. That's a nice stop from Blue, but there is the Vladimir! Oh my lord! He just walks up hoovers them all into himself, gets a triple kill. That was a freebie.
That's just disgusting. Vladimir, Roandis is the person we've said, you know, MF getting the lead in the bot lane, soupSy getting the lead in the top lane, Disco Dakian getting a huge lead, and then Roandis just runs into 4 people in the jungle and kills 3 of them.
Gets the wall growth. They are trying to dive this one. Baba Yaga taking a bit of damage. He will get the first kill for his team. Not gonna get away though, as Dakin jumps right after him. They didn't get perfect game, but that's all that mattered.
It's kind of brutal though still. That was the full house of kills. 3 kills onto Vladimir, 2 more kills going over onto the Kazakhs, who is now legendary. I mean, it's getting to the point where there's not much to say beyond, if you are NCI, you just got to turtle inside your own base for 20 minutes and hope that for some reason Ulster University decide not to take Baron and just dive you under your own towers.
Well, I'd be very surprised if Ulster is going to decide to let that happen, especially the way they've been playing, which is basically, well, picture perfect, I'd say. Not a whole lot of mistakes to be had. We saw a bit of a kerfuffle in the bot lane, and even then they respond to what's going wrong and then make it right anyway, right? So they just make sure that they keep being ahead of the curve, that they keep being nice and tidy throughout this game, and that nobody really has a response for them.
Exactly, and I think one of the easier ways to just visualize how big this gold lead is right now is to look down at the items across the board. You know, items have generally gotten a little bit more expensive for everyone in this preseason, and yet everyone on Ulster University is now a full item up essentially on their lane opponent. That's just so much combat power, you know. That's the kind of thing where, like, it's a full item. There's no other way to say it. It's a full item of extra stats that you're bringing to every fight. And that's why these fights are just going to look incredibly rough for NCI, unless they get a miracle kind of fight where they catch out one person completely alone. Maybe you get the Kazakh shutdown onto your Samira, but I don't see how that's going to happen unless Ulster University start playing really fast and loose with their positioning, with their dives, and so far they just haven't been. They've been playing this map out really well. They've been controlling lanes, they've been controlling objectives when they have the numbers and the time to do so. And that's what I'm expecting to see from the rest of this game. That's what I'm hoping to see from most universities. Controlled play to close this game out.
Short game has been as Dakin. Oh no, this looks kind of rough. Luke heals is away, but dashes away. Still goes down, however, as the depth charge getting dodged by Disco Dakin. Not sure how he did that one. Using the stealth to not get targeted, and that's 2 kills in a row. That's Baron surely should be taken fairly shortly. Bucko taking a little bit of poke damage. Gets the Dredge line away. They're still trying for this, so why not?
They could go for Baron here. They probably should go for Baron here. They're not going to go for Baron here, Dutch. And I think they're just feeling confident. They're feeling happy. They don't need to take any kind of risk. I don't think Baron was a risk there, but in Ulster University's head, you know, they honestly don't need to. You know, they've got a Vladimir pushing in mid lane. They've got Misfortune collecting waves. They can let the Kazakhs go and pick up some more jungle camps, and so they're happy just doing that. You know, I said it. I said I thought this gold lead was just going to continue to extend as they control the map. They picked up some kills as well, and it's just extending off the back of that.
Oh, well, they are really trying their hardest to force this one, but it's just not working out for them. Baba Yaga joins on this one. Disco Dakin goes legendary. Rwandus is dominating, and a double kill for Dakin as well. It just keeps going from bad to worse. They try to make a play. It goes all out of hand, and that could even mean in the game for them.
It probably, at this point, it could mean the game. It's hard to say, you know. They might just back off, reset, try and go for Baron instead. I think they will back off at this point. Respawns should be coming through. But yeah, I mean, it's utter dominance here in game 1 for Ulster University. NCI needs to start thinking about game 2. Needs to start thinking about getting a jungle matchup that can be a little more even, and maybe give his Dankus that needs a little bit more agency, so he can go for these really aggressive ganks that he was looking for in the bot lane early. Something needs to change. You know, they really just need to give themselves a little bit more agency in making things happen early game.
Agency is the name of the game. I'm not really sure. Like, it's a difficult question, right? Because they were really trying to use the tools that they had with the Taliyah in the early game. If they get any CC down, then it is potentially a game, but they were just putting the trigger a little bit too early, or they went a little bit too far forward. I even think that if they play a little bit slower, they should be fine, as Daken finds Baba Yaga alone in the top lane, isolated, as they would say. Misses, unfortunately, and that means just an extra target for this Kha'Zix. Baba Yaga goes down first. Who will be next on the menu of this alien? He's waiting, getting the shield. Johnson forward. He gets another two. This could be a penta. No, gets stolen. Triple kill taken by Daken, make it a quadra, as comeback for Wonders make sure that there's no penta today, but the game will be theirs.
Rwanda's just looking to end as quickly as possible so Daken doesn't have time to flame him before they have to talk about the next champ select. that was the penta, man. And Daken honestly kind of deserved it. Took over this game very early on with some aggressive invades, with some good support from his team. If they play like this in game 2, I can't see NCI beating them. They just looked like they were completely on the same page, knew exactly what their comp was built to do, and executed on it flawlessly.
Well, this is going to be a rough game for NCI, and I'm very curious what the adaptation will be. However, we're gonna have to wait a little bit longer before you can see that resolved. We'll go to a quick break and we'll be right back after. And we are back for game 2 between NCI and Ulster University. What's there to say, really? A lot needs to change for NCI to really want to contest in that second game.
Definitely will. I can't help but notice that on our pick ban overlay, Ulster University have managed to morph into University College Cork. I mean, sometimes you just got to change college real quick mid-series, but I wouldn't worry about it. Don't worry, guys. If you're watching at home, it is still Ulster University. Same players, same need to ban. I would have said ban Kazakhs against them, but hey, they haven't bothered to ban Kazakhs. And so I would not be shocked if we saw Dakin just pick this up again over on the Ulster University side. They're just going to ban away the picks from NCI. When you stomp a game that hard, you just ban away without ever the other team picked, because why not, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it kind of works for them. They showed that they didn't really need to ban anything anyway, so might as well take away what they have seen. Kind of work for them. Well, the idea worked for them, right? I think it's the best way to put. So I like the bans. I think Samira is definitely something you need to take away. But Jhin, I was just about to say Jhin is left open.
Exactly, yeah. Jhin. The other big 80 carry power pick on this patch is Jhin, of course. I've been playing it a bit. It's kind of disgusting. If you manage to get to like 3 items, you will just start to one-tap squishies. You just press Q and auto. You're running Dark Harvest as well, so if they get below half health, they just kind of die.
Yeah, that collector is kind of, fun item.
That's it. Dark Harvest and Collector combined to get someone like Dark Harvest procs at 50% health, Collector procs at 5%, and it's just silly. And Dakin got Kazakhs again. Oh dear. Okay.
So there is a saving grace, right?
Sure.
How about you don't give him 2 kills in the early game?
Yeah, this is a viable option. I think also picking something that can potentially contest them a little bit, maybe put the Kazakhs under pressure in the jungle, because the Taliyah really didn't feel like at any point Dakin had to play around the Taliyah. You know, he wasn't changing his pathing up to try and get around the Taliyah. He wasn't being invaded by the Taliyah. He was kind of just got to go and do whatever he wanted on the top side of the map, while Danks Meeks was looking towards the bot lane. So as you say, Dakin got a little bit of a free ride, and then those two kills kind of pushed it over the edge and turned him into an unstoppable monster come mid game. The Kazakhs by itself, as it wasn't necessarily the problem. It was how they played around the Kazakhs as NCI. So if they change that up, there is still potential to shut that down.
Is that a brand?
That's a brand. It's probably brand. Brand on this patch, man. You buy Leanders, you buy Demonic thing, you buy Rylai's as well. If you want. I mean, you don't even need it. It's the 2 burn items combined with brand passive. Even if he's support, he will just land a single ability and half of anyone's health bar is gone.
It is kind of ridiculous. Even, well, Kha'Zix and Misfortune, if they get hit, they're going to be burned. However, Brand needs to be careful himself, right? He's a very squishy champion, but it does set them up for a very nice kind of pick comp, right? With his stun, with Jin's W, with Camille going in, they can try and pick someone off, and even if that doesn't work, they can even round it out with a bit more of a team fighting style in the mid and jungle. So what would you expect to see after these picks?
For NCI, I guess, yeah, like you say, they have the makings of a pick comp. That's what they're kind of looking towards. I assume, and I say assume because I haven't seen any of these players play Brand, so I'm not sure who's picking it up, but I assume it's going to be the Brand support. Because that's where we tend to see it in general, which means we're still looking at probably a mid laner, and unless that's a surprise Camille jungle, probably a jungler as well. So to support this kind of pick-oriented comp, I'd expect to see some kind of lethality jungler come out, just because in general, that's who you're looking at when you're thinking quick burst ability to catch someone out of position and get them gone. And then for the mid lane, you kind of have anything. Mid lane this patch is a little bit up in the air. You know, these new AP items are strong for a few champions, but at the same time, like, we are seeing a lot of kind of assassins. You know, the Yones, the Yasuos have felt quite good for a lot of people, I think. So I guess what I'm saying is it could be anything.
There's still a lot of options left open, and I actually do like the Rakan. It gives them just a little bit of sustain against the poke that Brand can. Oh, that is a Soraka. That gives them a lot of sustain against the Brand and the Jhin. So that makes a lot of sense. A lot more than the other one, I'd say.
Yeah, I was about to praise the Rakan. I was going to be like, you know, it does a good job of both engage and it's good at disengaging, so your support's not going to be easy prey for this pick comp. But no, it's a Soraka, and so it is going to be potentially quite easy prey if the Soraka ever steps too far forward. We'll just die to the Brand, to the Camille, to the Jhin, and now to the Fiddlesticks. This is the kind of jungler we were talking about that, I was just saying lethality junglers I think are the way to go for picks, but Fiddlesticks is kind of the quintessential pick jungler where you jump over a wall, you find someone who's a little bit caught out, or you find an entire team that aren't expecting you, fear them all, and they are then stuck running for their lives. And then Irelia to kind of round out this pick-oriented skirmish style comp up against a Victor in the mid lane. Victor probably going to look to bully this early, but Irelia's going to have kill pressure in that lane at some point.
Sure. Victor, however, super busted. It is incredibly strong at the moment. You even have a lot of options. I expect to see Ludens in this matchup because there's not really a tank you have to, really get the health down from. And to me, it also sets them up for a team fighting comp where the Victor or Misfortune combo could do a lot of damage in those team fights.
They definitely can. The one thing about Victor is that sometimes he is kind of deceptively short ranged. You think of him as this kind of long range mage in the vein of a lot of other kind of artillery mages in the mid lane, but really he is more of a kind of short to mid range mage. He needs to be walking up to people to apply his damage, to apply his combo. And when you look at the comp on the other side, he's going to be walking in range of Brand, of Camille, of Jhin, of the Fiddle, and even the Irelia to actually get damage off in team fights. There will be a Soraka to back him up, but beyond that and the Ornn, this Victor could potentially, if you fall behind a little bit, be very vulnerable to just getting blown up without getting anything done.
Oh, for sure. That Victor needs to be careful. Luckily, he has that gravity field for himself, but that's not the greatest of escapes. And the one thing I do kind of find odd here, where last game it made a lot of sense that Kha'Zix, right? This game, I feel like it's way more out of left field. It doesn't really feel like it fits the comp as a whole. However, of course, it is 2-0 up again. Like, it doesn't really matter. If
Kha'Zix can just jump into the middle of everyone anyway. And of course, they've kind of they've replaced the Shen with the Soraka this time around in terms of utility to just keep someone out of a fight. To keep Kha'Zix alive in the middle of a fight. Last game around, we saw Kha'Zix and Shen kind of towards the end going 2v4, 2v5 because, Kha'Zix can jump into all the damage and Shen is just there to keep the Kha'Zix alive. And maybe we'll see if this Kha'Zix gets out again. Soraka used in a similar way, kind of proactively, aggressively, Kha'Zix taking fights that otherwise he wouldn't be able to win. And it's anytime we see defensive tools being used aggressively, I'm happy.
But they're called defensive tools for a reason.
And you know what they say about the best defense? It's a good offense.
I think that is a lie.
Well, I mean, look, it's a saying, and anything that lots of people say must be true. I'm sorry, Dutch, that's the rules. I don't make them. The best defense is a good offense. If you have defensive tools, if you can figure out a way to use them offensively, and in League of Legends, that just means throw your body at the opponent and then use your defensive tools to survive the fight afterwards. I think it works out more often than not.
If you say so, but I'm not happy with it.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm the color caster, and so what I say is correct about everything.
Fair. Well, we're just gonna keep discussing this while we will go on a quick break, so you guys don't have to listen to our bickering. We'll be right back as soon as the delay is over. Welcome back to Game 2 between Ulster University and NCI. As we do see a very, very different team come from the side of, well, actually from both sides, I'd even say, where this time a lot more team fight oriented on the side of UU and a bit more pick comp, if you want to go like that.
That's absolutely it. It's a pick comp featuring, Camille obviously great in picks, but can split push if Camille wants as well. And there's not necessarily great answers on the other side. Victor has wave clear up against Camille, but with the ghost choice from Rwandus over TP, will get isolated in the side lane if that's where he chooses to be in the late game. So, if this Camille gets ahead, that could be a win condition for NCI. At the same time, what I was saying to you, Dutch, which our viewers obviously didn't hear during the break, was I do think that this is an NCI comp that's a little bit fragile. It's prone to disruption. It's prone to being broken up. If they do fall behind, there's no tanks, there's no enchanters. There's just a lot of damage. And so if they can't do the damage come the mid game, then they're just not going to be able to win fights. They're not going to be able to win skirmishes against the Soraka on the other side, against the fact that there's an Orin who's just going to be standing there, providing disruption, providing CC and tankiness. And Kazakhstan, Victor, and MF will potentially just be able to clean up if the game is kind of even or if UU are ahead. So NCI, they need to be proactive in this early game. Thanks to Meeps potentially, I'd really like to see him get this Brand Jhin lane rolling. Really any of these lanes going. And if that doesn't happen, I'm going to start to worry for how this game is going to play out for NCI.
Yeah, this time a lot more options actually for this jungler to actually go somewhere. Stun on Aurelia, we saw it last time. The Jhin and the Brand do a lot if you want to lock someone down. Camille, very easy to lock someone down with, so way more options to go about. Like you were saying, you probably want to see that bot lane, but even going in the top lane, making sure that your one primary pick tool is up and available in that Camille would be super, super valuable for NCI.
Nope. Although I have to say, okay. Sorry, my train of thought ran a little bit wild there for a second. I was running through, I was Doctor Stranging it, running through every possibility where NCI win, and there's only one, man. There's only one. That's not true at all. They have plenty of possibilities where they can win this. That's a lot of damage. One of the possibilities is, hey, straight up they just win this bot lane 2v2 and Brand 1v5, because Brand on this patch and Jhin on this patch are just filthy. The other big option, as you say, is, in this top lane, Camille is a champion that has the true damage to cut through Orin, so there's gank potential there for Fiddlesticks. Plenty of options for Danks of Meeps to actually go into any of these lanes. Even the Aurelia can set up much better against the Victor than she could against the Vladimir that we saw in the last game. And so Danks of Meeps, the question is going to be whether he chooses to gank a lot earlier or if he's just choosing Power Farm to get higher.
Yeah, that could still be an option. Actually, both of these junglers, I think, wouldn't mind just sticking to their jungle and farming it out. They become very valuable later on in the game anyway. So that's not even that much of an issue, though we just would like to see them be a bit more proactive. I think it makes that a lot easier for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
This puddle being targeted. Junglers might meet each other.
Yeah, junglers might meet each other here, and this will be a cancelled recall for Disco Dakin. Should just be able to get out of that. Has flash, should have the leap available. Nothing will even come of it. They don't even get the cancelled recall. So, bit of a hunt there. Couldn't find anything out of it. They'll look for a gank on the bot side, though. Ginger Joke could be in trouble.
Yeah, actually a lot of supply available, but they need to hit the skill shot. Bucko again goes too far forward. First blood to Alex P. How do you let that happen?
Dutch Source, how did we not predict that we saw Bucko go too far forward on Nautilus last game? How do you even go too far? Oh,
fights up in top and in the bottom lane, Baba Yaga in a lot of trouble.
Wait, watch Disco Dakin. Watch Disco Dakin.
Oh, he's still walking. He has to leave. He has to flash. This could be a freebie. No ward available. He walks right into the waiting claws of Disco Dakin. That is the first free kill for Disco 6.
Oh, I hate it so much because you set it up. You were like, hey, maybe if we just don't give Disco Dakin free kills on the Kazakhs, it'll be easier to control. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. But what if we just give him a free kill anyway? And then try to control him. And honestly, I don't think that's going to work out super well for NCI. That's a bit rough. They saw him reset on the bot side. I think there should have been a little bit of more awareness of the team let Baba Yaga know in the top lane that, hey, we just saw Kha'Zix recall out of bot side. His jungle is entirely gone. He's going to be on top side of the map around now. Maybe just don't lose all of your health in a 1v1 trade.
Or in a 2v1 trade, even as looking at mid. I think that is a bit of a recall bait. For now, though, Flare is not falling for it. And yeah, even in the top lane, you know, that Kha'Zix getting a free kill is already kind of disastrous. Because, like you're saying, there's not a whole lot of defensive stats available for the side of NCI. And then even in the bot lane, where it's basically freebie. Like, what happens? Like, that should never happen.
Yeah, I was saying it. I don't know how we didn't call it. We saw Bucko go too far forward on Nautilus repeatedly in the last game. And it's like, Nautilus is a champion where it's kind of hard sometimes to go too far forward. And like, sure, you're going in, but you have Aftershock, you have the shield. You're super tanky. You have plenty of time to get out. I mean, this time around, if you're just walking face first into two people on Brand, you have to expect that you're just going to get blown up. I mean, you're not that tanky, especially 4 minutes into the game. You're not going to survive all that burst from a misfortune.
So, in the mid lane, Holt uses one damage just come down. He follows it through. Didn't even need to use his flash. Well played from Flare. That gives them some bit of hope. A winning lane is what they would need at this point in time. It takes a whole bit of damage.
What?
Oh, Flare.
Sure.
No problem.
Hey, over ambitious. Is what I'll stick with for that. But I mean, you've got to be feeling yourself after that straight 1v1 kill from Flare, just catching Rwanda's by surprise. It was well worked, well executed by Flare, and as you say, it's now a winning lane for kind of the first time for NCI in this series, and see if they can play around that effectively. What we did see as well a bit earlier that we didn't get time to comment on was Danks Meeps again controlling the early Drake a little better. You know, Disco Dakin choosing to invest time in the top side of the map, and what it does is give one free early Drake over to NCI. And this time around, it's an early Ocean Drake, which can be super helpful in lanes, especially some of these lanes like the Jhin and the Brand lane. You know, they're both quite mana hungry, and just having the Ocean Drake will allow them to apply a bit more pressure to this Misfortune and Soraka. Put a bit more poke down, potentially, you know, grow a CS lead. They're down a little bit at the moment, but they are keeping the Misfortune and Soraka on the back foot. Actions looks like
lane. Darkus is immediately waiting. Could be a nice counter gang opportunity. They spotted out Disco Dakin. So now it's the question. There is gonna be the Crown Storm flash for a double. Fair, not nearly enough, unfortunately. As again, a trade in the mid lane is huge. Needs to walk out of this one, and it's so this bot lane is so unfortunate. But they just can't make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it is, even though that was, you know, well timed, there wasn't a big wave built up or anything for the NCI side, and so they don't even get a CS lead. They're still down to 3 CS. Alex B doing a great job under all this pressure, keeping up, and we'll see now. Okay. Sure. Ginger Joe, so yeah, Soraka's heal costs health, by the way. Oh no.
Will the time does come through, there is gonna be no stun. Unfortunately, as Disco Dakin now finding his way into 3 members. I think he still has sleep available, doesn't need it just yet. Uses the Void Assault. Flash forward, very ambitious from Gloom, but that snipe! He gets it! Makes it an even lane again. That is exactly what they need to keep in this game.
That's a nice kill coming through. I was saying it, that the pressure on the bot side wasn't really amounting to anything for the team of NCI. You know, they really weren't getting big leads, even with the ult and flash investment from Dankus and Meeps. But hey, that's a lead. That 1 kill onto your Jhin, that's all you need to start getting ahead. And that's got to feel pretty good for the first time. They've got advantages in 2 lanes. Top lane is still even. You know, there's a CS lead for the Camille despite the death to Kha'Zix. And the only real lead at the moment for Ulster University is the jungle. But if there's one player who proved in the last game that he has the potential to potentially just go 1v9 in this game, it might just be Disco Dakin. So this is definitely not out of the woods yet for NCI, despite 2 winning lanes.
At least it slows down the lead. It makes it so they're finally ahead. They were K behind, not anymore. So, you know, that heart rate can go a little bit slower. You don't need to overforce anything realistically, right? You can keep that even out. And as we see, everything is about evened out besides that jungle where, you know, Dakin... Well, no. I don't think it's anywhere that bad. It's actually Bucko with the biggest lead in the game.
Bucko absolutely carrying on this brand. Like, we're kind of joking, but also if this brand stays even enough in gold with the rest of the carries, Brand will become a legitimate carry threat all by himself. Brand's real spooky on this patch. You know, you get those burn items and you will just do half of someone's health as soon as you land a single ability. And Brand can just walk up to people and press E for that single ability. It's just not fair, Dutch.
Not only that, he can easily apply grievous wounds.
Yeah, definitely worth noting. And we were talking last game about how on this patch now the question becomes like, do you trade off, you know, a carry who's going to be hitting everyone to apply the grievous wounds, or are you looking for a champion who, you know, is really going to be not looking to complete other big ticket items? You know, Brand Investos. This is going to be
Vanguard has Crowdstorm also available. Ventus of Needs not needed. Though Flare might actually go down to this Gale Storm. Time's out. Whew.
One more tick. Man, that Chaos Storm, it is just a scarier version of Kog'Maw passive.
To use it like that, nice stun. There goes the ultimate down as well, but Glue takes so much return damage. Bullet time comes out. Both of them walking away, but that Brand is so worth the damage that he provides. Is ridiculous. They still can't secure the kill. Finally get it. It even goes over to this Jhin. It does get traded in the jungle, however, as they met. But what a fight in the bot lane.
Great fight in the bot lane. Great execution by Enter.
Oh no. Top lane. What a touch! Hextech ultimatum from Baba Yaga keeps him alive just a little bit longer, but not close enough to get him the kill. Even flashes away. Still gets taken down.
Yeah, that's Ornn kind of just doing Ornn things, being very tanky, kind of just running at people sometimes and winning. And in the jungle, it was Disco Dakin finding Danks Meeps at the blue side Raptors and just winning that fight. It's what happens. We said it last game. Kha'Zix just win fights in the jungle against most junglers at the moment. And,
Yeah, well, he wins most fights and he wins this one as well.
Don't you love it when someone just, you know, immediately proves their point for you? Oh, Ginger Joe.
Is everybody walking into each other?
I mean, I can kind of forgive Dankus and Meeps, right? It's like you walk. Never mind, no
it's
time.
Gonna be a big fight. Everyone is joining in on this one. This Kotakin also still in the side. Baba Yaga finds Rwanda's first. Unfortunately, no Root is gonna come down. They do realize where this Kha'Zix is now, but they can't follow. That's just 2 TPs gone to the win.
Man, that's yeah, just both teams pulling the trigger, but then choosing not to after they'd already committed both teleports, right? It's interesting. A lot of key abilities were missing on both sides, so I think both teams kind of, you know, that's kind of Mexican standoff where they're both looking at each other. No one really wants to fight, but you're just there to stop the other team from forcing something silly. As this will be a Drake contested by Bucko.
Almost gets soloed by Dangus of Meat, but this could be a fight they're looking for. Bucko walks forward. Soupsy in a lot of trouble. Not gonna go down just yet. Might even keep himself alive with the use of that flash. Group not gonna connect. Flash for flash traded. Bucko versus Alex. No kills come down, but the Drake has been secured by Ulster.
I've been seeing some excitement for Soupsy Zorn in the chat, you know, and at this point I'm thinking maybe it's justified. I don't think he deserved to live on that much health. He probably shouldn't have gotten out, but hey, Soupsy knows his limits and flashes out over the wall, gets away. Really nothing happens there except the Drake is secured, and this is again almost exactly what we saw last game, if a little less one-sided. Is, you know, you starting to come online, starting now to contest objectives, looking for fights and picks in the jungle, and again, Disco Dakin starting to get ahead. The main difference now is that the bot side of the map is looking strong for NCI. This Jhin, 3 kills, will start to just one-tap people, honestly, very soon. Has that Dark Harvest, will have the Eclipse finished now. Collector will come through next. Once that Collector is finished, just keep an eye on Jhin, because it will take 2 to 3 others to kill someone. No.
Flare, the double stun, not gonna be enough, unfortunately, as Dakin picks himself up another shutdown. He is set up to carry this game once again.
He's just collecting them all. It'll be Jhin next. Keep your eyes on where Jhin is on the map.
Doesn't even need the collector.
No, he doesn't need the collector to start collecting, right? We need a Bone Tooth Necklace collection for Rengar in the game. Is that still a collection mechanic? I know at one point it was collection. Yeah. I know what I'm talking about. I play League of Legends.
You play jungle.
Yeah, definitely play Rengar. Wouldn't even worry. At some point in the bot lane, this Jhin and Brand are so far ahead right now that as long as those W's and Q's land from both champions, I mean, you're just going to see health bars vanish from Alex P and Ginger Joe.
And even this third is going to be taken down rather shortly, and I don't think any fight's going to happen rather soon, so we could look at a little bit on what's going on. Well, there's a fight anyway, but all the way forward! You cannot stand still against these two players. Bucko and Blue taking great advantage of a, well, face tanking bullet time.
This is, it's the anime redemption arc. You know, Bucko, he's been walking forward over and over again. It hasn't worked out as he walks into two people, and this time, anime music starts playing. Bucko walks into two people, and they come away with the kill on the tower. It's beautiful. You love to see it. And off the back of this, they're invading the jungle. This is the opposite of what we saw last game, where Disco Dakin had complete free reign over both jungles, and this time around, NCI are in control of Ulster University's bot side jungle. Disco Dakin still has control, honestly, at the top side because his Ornn is so strong, he individually is so strong. So it's going to be a trade of blue buff right here, and it's really just a microcosm right now of how this game is going. Bot side, absolutely on fire for NCI. Top side, still a problem for them, though.
Yeah, apparently it's on fire for them. As Baba Yaga, he just... Okay. He can't do anything. That's
rough. Yeah, that's how it goes when you're playing against the Fed Kazakhs and the mid laner and the strong top laner just run at you on the tower. Right now, Disco Dakin sitting on 5 kills is absolutely trusting in himself to carry this game, setting himself up as well. And I think the big one is going to be assuming that Disco Dakin doesn't go deathless for this entire game. Where is that shutdown gold going to go? Because if that ends up on a Jhin or on an Aurelia, or even goes over to Camille...
If the wind goes in, I'm not sure who secured it. We're going to have to wait and see. It will be Disco Dakin who gets the one, but he goes very low, uses the Void Assault to walk away. The Call of the Force God makes sure no follow-up is going to be had. Supsi trying his hardest to stay out of this one. He doesn't want to fight 3 members, but he's not going to have a single choice in the matter. Bucko picks that one up for himself as Slayer using the Vanguard Sense for Wonder Strike to dodge. Didn't get it, but it doesn't matter. Maybe it does because Ginger Joe's there to save him.
Wee-oo! That's the sound of the Soraka ambulance. It's arriving, baby. Full force, Ginger Joe sprinting into the mid lane. It was a listen, Dutch. It was an awful flash. Truly abysmal. Okay, because the first part of the Irelia stun was on the ground. Irelia could have stunned anywhere. Oh, I mean, look, Bucko's dead. It's a Fed Kazakhs. What do you expect your support? I want to go back to that flash. Irelia's stun was still on the ground. Irelia gets to choose where the second point goes. It should have been an easy stun. It should have been an easy kill onto Rwanda's. Flair just slightly executing, combined with a sidestep from Rwanda's, combined from the speed from a Ghost, running out to the Soraka. Soraka arrives for the heal. Honestly, I mean, it meant very little in the grand scheme of things. Okay, it meant nothing, but it was super high ball nonetheless.
I had written him off, and I shouldn't have.
Full redemption. I mean, like, look, they genuinely got nothing from it. But it was cool. They are going to get a Drake off this, and that comes mostly off the back of they got Brand. Bucko was walking in there to try and secure vision, and the support dies, doesn't get any vision down, and it's free dragon, and that's going to be Bucko dead again.
Yeah, Disco Dakin trying his hardest, just walking forward. Flash actually used by Bucko. He needs to be careful though. They do spot where he is right now, but I don't think anyone wants to take this. He goes under the turret, uses the Prowler's Glove. They do get 2 return kills for him, so they went a little bit too far forward.
This is big. This is what I was kind of questioning earlier. I said it. I don't think Disco Dakin is going deathless this game. Turns out I was right, and I was kind of wondering, who's going to get that shutdown goal, because that kind of has implications for how the game play out. That's 1,000 gold that has now gone back onto the Camille, who was falling behind, was struggling a bit in this split push, and that's going to massively jump Camille's damage, her ability to pressure this Ornn, to pressure towers in a side lane, and really that's going to change up the face of this game for Ulster University. You now need to start looking at their side lanes. There's a strong Aurelia, now a relatively strong Camille, that they have to start thinking about.
That split push slowly starting to become an option. The one thing I would still be afraid of is that Kha'Zix, because realistically, if you're alone in the side lane, he can always show up and try and 1v on you. Like Baba Yaga, not nearly strong enough to deal with this Kha'Zix, and I don't think anyone is.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right on that. I guess there's two ways that plays out. You can see Aurelia is now heading towards the bot lane, so the idea maybe is you're 1-3-1. Jhin, Brand, and Fiddle hang around the mid lane somewhere, and Kha'Zix can only show up to one side lane. You're still getting stuff on the other side. Maybe that's the hope. Or the other option, of course, is that you leave Camille or the Aurelia in the main group. One of them is off the sideline. You hope that if Kha'Zix does show up, you can just force the 4v3 hard enough in the mid lane or wherever the 4 is to get something done. As we do see these gold titles pop up, and not too different from last game, but enough differences to be interesting, Dutch.
Literally, like, if you get that Kha'Zix out of the team fight, right, you make sure it doesn't pick anyone off, you basically win it.
Right.
Most of the advantage of the damage just comes from the jungle pick at the moment.
Yeah, mid laner's relatively even, 400 gold lead for Flare, and then the bot side is a massive. Bot lane is a huge advantage for NCI right now. And, like, sometimes that's irrelevant when we're talking sports. You know, it's like, oh, they're a bit more tanky, or the Enchanter has their second item a bit quicker. But when we're talking Brand support, being 2,000 gold up on your lane opponent is a huge deal. That Brand is genuinely a damage threat in this game.
Yeah, and we've seen it as well. He just does a shit ton of damage. And speaking about that, Dakin gets found out, but it is by Baba Yaga. His stun doesn't connect. Hextech ultimatum is going to be used, but we're going to be looking at a Crown Storm in the mid lane. Who won the fight? They both get away on like 100 HP. I mean, nobody dies.
That's scary though for Dakin, right? He's your 7-1 Kha'Zix. He's meant to be able to one-shot anyone right now, and somehow Baba Yaga is able. Well, obviously Baba Yaga had a bit of advantage, knew the Kha'Zix was coming. This time around, it wasn't Kha'Zix waiting in a bush, but that's still spooky. That's the Camille standing up in a side lane against the Kha'Zix. Probably won't win the 1v2, but this is not as one-sided for Disco Dakin as he'd like it to be.
Sure, he wants to fight them all easy peasy. Maybe jump into 4 people, get almost a pentakill before it gets stolen. But I don't think it is going to happen this game.
There's a lot of game left, right? Disco Dakin again has, like, this is a game where I would have been like, yes, you go Duskblade, right? Because there's just a bunch of damage threats, very hard for them to just hard lock you down in a fight anyway. So if you get a kill and go invisible, you can wait for your cooldown. It's like, surely this is the Duskblade game, but no, this is the Predator's Claw game according to Dakin. Which we'll see how it works out in this 1v1. Replay.
Oh my goodness.
Sure. So that's what happens when Dakin gets the drop.
So, I don't understand why it was so close first time, and it isn't now, but we might see a response from NCI. He is gonna be chasing him! Dakin, that is disgusting! He can't keep getting away with it as Bucko at least gets the return kill, but what?
I'm not sure. The plan was clearly to jump on Dakin, but Gloob and Bucko were hesitant to jump over the wall. They had the blast gun available, and instead Gloob was just waiting, held a W on Jhin for a long time, and it leads to Dakin turning around and getting a kill where really there shouldn't have been room for the Kha'Zix to get the kill. But he did. In the end, as you say, it's 2 more kills to Brand, who has the Luden's Echo, hasn't gone for the Liandry's, which I assumed was the build. I guess not. Bucko just going for more upfront burst, a bit more move speed to maneuver these fights. Maybe the plan is to dodge out of the damage on the other side. As we'll see, Bucko also, we mentioned it, is able to apply Groove Spoons effectively to a lot of members, and so is the sacrificial lamb to pay the 800 gold for that one in this game for NCI.
Yep, and the Dragon will be scared because of the fight in the top lane, so well played to them. TP was used by Baba Yaga. Keep that in mind as you went top lane to try and defend that tower. Oh no. Oh, Bucko, you can't be alone there. He isn't though. The rest of his team is immediately there. They pick up Dakin again as he goes a little bit too far forward.
What is this? The Kha'Zix is just getting shut down by the Brand support. It's disgusting. Bucko's a 2-level lead over Ginger Joe right now. Bucko is a monster. Bucko's going to carry this game. You mark my words.
Sure, but before we get there, we also have a collector on the Jhin now completed, so we're talking about carries. That is going to be a very scary champion to face at the moment.
Alright, it might be Jhin. Jhin might carry the game. We'll see. Obviously, this Kha'Zix is still a huge threat, but what I was kind of called out was you know, the Kazakhs. NCI need to do a better job of tracking them in this game because they are a little bit fragile. They're squishy. They're prone to being picked off, and honestly, they have done a much better job this game compared to last game of getting vision control down. They're aware of Dakin is when he goes for the kind of greedy invades. Apart from one early where he did pick off Danks of Neeps at Raptors, since then, you know, they have vision on him. Whenever he tries to cross that river line, he's getting found out. This is a 1v1 that should go to
Wonder goes very far forward. Bucko is there. Can he hit the stun though? Not just yet. Crowdstorm gets responded with the flash and the wish to heal him up a little bit. Dankers of Memes now fairly low. Calls the Force Call. Will not get stopped by a Blaze Dance, and Dakin joins in. Gets another kill for himself. Has 10 on the board. He is missing 2 kills of his team.
Yeah, he doesn't even have assists. He's 10-3-0, the no assist carry. That's what you like to see. And this is what you said as well, is, you know, the Kazakhs can show up to a split push in a side lane super easily. As Kazakhs will get the first Ornn upgrade of the game. It's Sandshrike's Claw, apparently. That's exciting. I didn't know that at all. The one I do know is when Misfortune gets Eclipse upgraded. Do you know what Eclipse upgrades into, Dutch?
I think we need to wait before it's like when we see the name, and then I'll let you go all out on that one. Is that fair?
Oh, okay.
We're gonna hype it up, you know, that Eclipse is gonna be upgraded. What kind of fun fact do we have about it?
Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Main thing to talk about from that last play. Just points to focus on. Kazakhs able to attack the split push. NCI weren't able to punish on the side of the map where the Kazakhs wasn't. They need to be winning the fights where the Kazakhs isn't. If they're not doing that, NCI are in the rest of this game.
Even a response could be that they try and ward out and they always know where this Kazakhs is, because basically their whole game plan should revolve around this like assassin, right? If they know where he is, they know where to not be, or they know where to focus all of their members towards. So it's kind of like it's like a big mistake if you get jumped on by this Kazakh, because everything in your mind right now should focus on where is Kazakhs and where's my team.
That's like, yes, on the one hand, absolutely, they should know that, and they shouldn't die to him, if possible. That'd be great. But the Irelia dying on the bot side wouldn't have been the end of the world if they'd won the top side fight, if they'd gotten that tower down. And I think that was the bigger issue in the last play, was that even when, you know, they kind of knew where the Kazakhs was, Irelia dies them on the bot side. It feels so bad when you're in a split push, you know, and it feels bad when you see a team and they have a split pusher and they get focused by 2 members and the rest of the team, as 4, can't get anything done on the other side of the map.
We actually do see Baba Yaga just waiting on their tower for these minions to just push into him instead now, so it's a bit of a response towards what happened in that last fight, which I like to see. Yep. Yeah, you can also trade around the map. It needs to connect though, and the easier thing, like, no trades from the map, also good. And a very good option, if you're talking about that, would be if you spot Disco Dark in the bot lane, just go towards the Baron. You win the fight, or you take
exactly right. That's, you need to just be doing something on the other side of the map, and that's what didn't happen last time around. Now is a chance though. We have a Drake spawning. Both of these teams do 2 Drakes. We haven't really kept track of those because last game, you know, Drakes were obviously very one-sided. But now there's another air Drake spawning. This is a chance for our first kind of real 5v5 in the series. And we'll see. Disco Dakin's going to be looking to pick someone off before it happens. NCI want to get a good Fiddlesticks ult into a big team fight. Which team's going to get their wish?
Well, I know one team has a wish, so that could help them in winning this fight.
Oh no.
For now, it is just staturing around Drake. No teleport for Rabundus, but he's slowly walking over. His Flare is in the mid lane. Nobody really trying to commit this yet. They want to try and get a kill before they actually go forward. Keep in mind, there's Guardian's Angel now available.
No.
Tankers of Meats is going far forward, but hits absolutely nothing, and that means that the team fight can easily be turned around by Ulster as Bucko gets completely pulled by Disco Darkin. Baba Yaga was almost down as well, and Karuk can only do so much by himself. He only has 4 bullets, but 5 members to deal with, and that means that Drake is gonna go over to Ulster.
That brand just vanished, and the problem is that it's not even like that was isolation damage, right? He was standing on top of Baba Yaga when that happened. So that's just Kazakhs' damage right now in the middle of a fight to a squishy, which is terrifying. And I mean, I'm sold on the Predator's Claw. He could have used it to close so much distance on that Brand. I'm assuming Bucko felt safe, right? He was near his team. Kha'Zix was on the other side of the lane. And just out of nowhere, Kha'Zix jumps Predator's Claw one-shots. And that was enough, on top of some other damage, to get them that Drake. That's the pick potential of the Kha'Zix. That's what the UU comp is locked into doing at this point, honestly, with the 11 kills on Kha'Zix. And I mean...
No. Oh no!
Okay, as long as Disco Dakin can keep doing that, like, NCI don't really have a response. I mean, how do you respond to that? He just ran into 3 people, killed one, and left.
And he'll do it again. If he gets the
will.
chance.
That's the worst part.
Well.
He's built like 3 utility items. He still has that damage. Like he has Edge of Night, which is like, you know, a lethality item, but also not the highest lethality item. It has a fair bit of utility. He has the Guardian Angel, which is a lot of armor, but not the most AD or lethality. He has the Umbral Glaive for vision control. He has 3 utility items, and he's still one-shotting people. He's still trying to basically solo the Baron. What's going on?
Can we have a vibe check on NCI? They're already so vibing? I don't think they are, as Disco Dakin has the ultimate available. Flare doesn't spot it out. He's nice though, so not too much trouble. I think it's just Bucko and Gloop that need to be very, very careful. They're trying to force this though. There's the Hextech ultimatum, but will that ultimatum be met? Every ultimate misses from NCI, and that could be disaster as Disco Dakin jumps in, leaps out, gets another freebie. Soup TP's in just for the hell of it, why not? Has the ultimate still available, and NCI on the back foot. Baron could be taken by Ulster.
It's 1 for 1, but it's the support for the top laner. And Baba Yaga, I think, is more important than the Soraka is right now. As you say, it's Baron. This Kha'Zix isolated damage is just so high. Kha'Zix damage right now is insane in general. Disco Dakin is putting his team on his back. This is a carry performance like very few others we have seen in this tournament. And honestly, NCI are struggling to find answers. Even when they blow everything onto this Kha'Zix, they didn't even get the GA out of him. They lost vision of the Kha'Zix in the jungle bush, I think, while still in the Camille ult. And after that, Dakin just playing to the limits of the champion. Back in, back out. And NCI just at a loss for what to do with it.
He is 2 levels up on every single member of NCI. He is 5 levels up on the support. It is actually ridiculous what he is doing this game. And he just doesn't get picked up either. Like, even the item choices are so smart because every time they want to go on him, it's just a pick, right? They want to try and CC him down, but they can't. And even if they do, he has the Guardian's Angel.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of the things that sometimes comes up in League of Legends is that honestly, defensive items can be the more snowbally option. Because if you're ahead, just as you say, like he's up 2 levels on everyone, just his levels are giving him plenty of damage compared onto these NCI members. And the defensive stats he's getting from his items just mean it's almost impossible for them to kill him. Even if they do manage to get on top of him, and then if you don't kill him instantly, this Kha'Zix is turning around, killing at least 1 person, and then using the fact that he's evolved his leap to get the reset and jump away.
Are you saying that defense is the best form of offense?
Offense is the best form of defense, and yeah, defense is the best form of offense. Up is down and down is up, and League of Legends doesn't make sense in preseason Dutch.
Fair enough, I'll take you on that one. As Soup C just heavily split pushing against Flare. Disco Dakin on his side, making sure that, and if anyone does come by, that they are dead, as he has been doing the rest of this game. Ginger actually goes forward, doesn't get. Oh, there's Dakin, goes into everyone. Bucko again, he just cannot do anything. The bullet time hits 3 members, but it's not nearly enough. Fears do come down. Daggers of me trying his absolute hardest to make anything happen on this one, but it is not enough. Dakin still alive, getting a triple. Finally his Guardians is gonna be pulled. Throw his flares, but we all know the conclusion to this story. It is an ace for Disco Dakin.
Did Dakin just get a second pentakill stolen in 2 games?
Yep.
Alright, I just want to clarify that. I'm getting shades of Season 3 Faker right now.
Fuck off.
No. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because you remember that was the season when Faker just really broke LeBlanc, and he broke it by going in on the support constantly. I mean, whatever, man. It's the constant picking on the support to get fed. Dakin killed Bucko 6 times, got enough gold to end the game, and that is exactly what he's done.
And just like Faker, he jumps into the fountain and then dies at the end.
That's, you know, the Faker play, the famous one, the Faker one.
Yeah,
was
he
that
goes into the turret and then
he dies 5 seconds after that play ends. And I mean, hey, like, Dakin, he's just trying to make himself look better. Look, I'm not saying he's as good as Faker. Obviously, we all know that's a lie. I'm just saying, if you're playing an assassin and you want some free gold and there's an underleveled support walking around the map,
Oh my god.
that's just free gold.
Look at the damage graph, man. That is something else.
Yeah, it's kind of filthy. It's you know, Dakin with 31,000 gold, and the next highest gold in the game is 15, or next highest damage in the game is 15,000. That's GG, well played. Ulster University, with that win, will have locked themselves in, I believe, to second place in this group. It will be them and TUD Apes going through no matter what happens next week. But there is a chance now for Ulster University to actually take first seed in this group, depending on how TUD Apes and they play in their matches next week. So those will be exciting. Keep an eye on the results next week. And honestly, whew, Ulster University, like, they look strong. As long as Dakin gets Kha'Zix again, I wouldn't bet against him.
I'm sure he won't. Yeah, well played by both teams. We see what happens if you give Kha'Zix some kills in the early game. Then, you know, instead of him becoming invisible, your team becomes invisible, which is not what you would like to see. That will be it for both me and my lovely co-cast in Leok. Want to thank you all for watching. And I believe tomorrow we have our last game of the week, being Rainbow Six Siege. So look forward to that one. Thank you for watching, and hopefully.
Hey, don't forget, next week we do have our Rocket League playoffs starting on Tuesday as well. So that's pretty hype as well. I'm going to throw that out there as you know, the Rocket League caster on this cast at the moment. I got to plug it. Keep up to date with Irish Collegiate Esports. It's a lot of fun, you know.